Alright, so example 1 from the notes deals with determining whether relations are functions. So in order to do that, we have to check whether each input maps to exactly one output. And we have to remember, functions can only have one input to one output. If my input repeats and gives me a different output, we can no longer have a function. So we're going to look at a few different types of examples of what we can see as relations. First one is just a set of coordinates, right? So just like we saw in the warm-up, except without the picture. But really, we don't need the picture. All we have to check is whether I have any inputs repeating. So I'm going to go in each of these, trace them, and I notice that no inputs repeat. And so we're good. This is definitely a function. Is a function. Then we have part B. Again, we have coordinates. Let's see. We have 4, 8, 6, 4, and 5. So here, right here is my red flag. I have a repeated input, and on top of that, it's giving me a different output. So that's literally going against the definition of a function. This, therefore, cannot be a function. It's not a function. Part C, they give us a table. So basically an indirect version of these coordinates. We have our inputs, we have our outputs. And so then let's see. Once again, we check -2, -1, 0, and 0. I have repeated inputs again, and they're giving me a different output. This, just like in part B, cannot be a function. And then finally we have this, we call this a mapping diagram. So a mapping diagram. And let's see what it's really telling us. It's mapping -1 to 4, a 3 to a 15, and then an 11 to a 15. So if I wanted to, if we really wanted to, we could break this down kind of like coordinates, just to really make sure that we know what's happening here. So that's our first one. And that's our second one. And then this is our third one. So we can now check, okay, let's see if any inputs repeat. We have -1, 3, and 11. No inputs repeat, so we are good. Keep in mind, outputs can definitely repeat. Outputs repeating is not an issue. What we can't have is inputs repeating. That's when we have a relation that isn't a function. But for part D, we have that this is a function.